I mean, I'm just saying, sometimes your finger just gets creased.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Hey, guys, welcome to another episode of Take 3 Reactor Summit, where I never get the name of the show correct because it makes Abe mad and that makes me happy. What we're going to do is we're going to go over last week's matches. We're going to talk about our predictions for this week's matches. We're also going to have a little bit of a discussion about some of the ongoing controversies or whatever you want to say that have happened in the last week. But yeah, it's going to be a good show. We got a great panel this week. As always, Malcolm Lay, our ride and die Malcolm Lay, who's with us for all things. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Just ready to talk Schmoedown and have a lot of fun.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. We also have Matt Kearns, always starting out the show with a weird
you always
story.
Go live whenever I'm finishing stories. But guys, look, I'm really happy to be here. I'm back in the flow of being on the summit, which I know makes everyone happy, particularly Mark Small. Good dude. You like my shows. And look, I'm just happy to be here. And you want to know why? Because I just feel like I'm dedicated to the art of Take 3. I'm dedicated to the art of the Schmoedown. I'm just dedicated to art in general. That's what I am.
It's a lot of.
I'm dedicated to a lot of art. I'm dedicated to the art of posters. Dedicated to the art of Malcolm's beard. I'm dedicated to the art of Doug's blue period going on right there. I'm just
Did you say blue period? Did you say blue period?
Like, what's his name? The artist. It was also.
But the way that you separated the words, instead of saying blue period, like the artist's blue period, you said blue period.
That's the whole point. Jesus,
it's really strange.
I'm also dedicated to the art of having to explain my joke.
I'm going to mute Matt. I'm going to mute him forever. Speaking of blue periods, we also have Doug Castle with us.
Guys, how's everybody doing? I'm with Matt. I'm dedicated to being here, guys, and that's the only joke you're getting out of me tonight.
No jokes. This is a serious show. We don't make jokes.
All right, ready? Everybody, 3, 2, 1, serious face. And that's dedication. But I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I always have a good time with you guys, laugh, and forget the world for about an hour. So it's nice.
Can I just say something, guys?
No.
The Odd Couple vs. Only Stupid Answers is streaming live right now.
Yeah, so they're doing 3 matches. I believe they're doing 3 matches this week and also next week. I could be wrong.
Well, but our viewership live is going to be great.
Yeah, you know what? It's fine. Not everyone can watch live. Whatever. We got Star Drew. We got one mystery person.
Star Drew, what's up?
Two people watching live. Yeah, they have to fit 3 in because there's only about there's a month before Spectacular and there's a whole tournament to get through. So yeah, they don't really have the time.
All right, guys, this summer will now be a live reaction. No,
0%. I am not prepared for that. Okay, so we are going to talk about a lot of great things. We're just going to start out talking about the cutscenes because one of them confirms yet another manager, and there's only I think there's one left that needs to be confirmed. And then, who could be?
What's in the box?
There's a lot of speculation going around that everyone's already confirmed. I'm not. I don't think so. I think there's still one left that needs to be confirmed. And then also we got a cutscene with Emma and Mara confirming that she's going to be the main card for the New York Live event in January. So she's going to be getting her belt match against Smets or Kalinowski.
What?
What?
She sold.
She's going to be getting her
she's
belt
headlining.
back?
I said she's getting the belt match.
Oh, I thought you said it sounded like you said she's getting the belt back, and I was I don't know.
Number one,
that.
if it's Smets going into the match, everyone knows I stan Kevin Smets, so he will win regardless of who he faces, unless he faces Rachel. That's just how it is.
And I'm reminding you that Mike Kalinowski is the leader of the Human Resistance, and he's going to stop the Terminator and Skynet when he retains his belt.
There is no stopping him.
I've already told you that I've accepted our robot overlords. So,
and you know what, Kristen? That's great that you've accepted, but I haven't given up the fight. Now, maybe audience has given up the fight because Dark Fate did terrible at the box office, but I certainly haven't. I mean, I didn't see Dark Fate, but I was busy all
you're
weekend.
part of the problem, Matt.
You're
not
the problem.
Solution. You're
I
the
want
problem.
the truth. Did you make multiple accounts to vote Marlon Brando more than Tom Cruise?
Well,
I
I should have. He did. Should have been the first number one. One of the best actors of all time. Period. Exclamation point.
Hey, Andrew.
Happy to be back. Yeah. Hey, Andrew. How's it going? We're going to talk about your match in a minute. But let's talk about these cutscenes. Man, we went off on a tangent. We got these cutscenes. So let's start out with the manager stuff because there's, I think the Winston Marshall thing is actually a really lovely surprise as a new manager to all of this because we've kind of been missing him in the teams format since the whole anarchy happened. You know, we haven't seen him a lot. And that's been a little sad because I love his energy. I love what he brings to everything. I think that he's got a great point of view for all of this because he is so his character is so like energetic and he like goes for the punches and stuff. And it's just fantastic. I can't wait to see him as a manager. I want to get everyone's opinions on what you think his manager style is going to be like, if he's going to be more like a Ken or a Dagnino or maybe a little bit less, Ken and Dagnino-ish. I don't know. There's like everyone else, and then there's Ken and Kaiser and Tom.
Okay, there's Tom, and then
Doug,
there's
you can go
else.
first.
That's
Doug, you can go first.
I can go first. Shh, Matt. Shh. Let me talk. All right. So I think he's going to be a better Jay Washington. I think he's going to be. I think he's got the comedic skills to hold up with a Tom and a Kaiser, because I think the back and forth between those two will be phenomenal. I think he's got. I think he's smart enough to know how to build a really good team. So I think a lot of people that haven't watched their videos and stuff like that don't know much about Winston, but like he's a really smart dude and he knows how to run a team. I think he'll be able to provide a really good training program, which most people don't realize is a really essential part of being a competitor. So I think he could be on the tier with Dagnino and Kaiser and Kenneth Grace, but I think he'll be kind of not a heel and not a face, like in between.
He'll be right in between. So he'll be more like I guess the dungeon is kind of like an in-between faction. Like they're not necessarily faces, they're not really necessarily heels. They're just kind of like floating in the ether.
What? They're heels.
They're not. I mean,
heels. They are and they're not. Like you got Kaiser who can be a bit of a heel. You got Paul who can be a bit of a heel, but Eric Zipper is not a heel. And Kevin, like he hardly talks during the matches, so I don't really think you can classify him as anything other than maybe a mime. And are mimes heels? Are they faces? They have faces, but I don't know that you can classify them as either. Please, if wrestling wants to be different, they should throw a mime in the ring. Just saying.
That'd be awesome.
Throw a mime in the ring.
They'd be like,
and then let us know.
And just put him in a box. Like that's how he defeats each opponent. That's like his finisher move. Like you are
really
putting
into this idea now. Actually,
you're putting to a box.
Oh man,
he makes the wall behind him, and then he like smashes him into it, and the guy just like hits this invisible wall and just like falls over. I'm into this idea.
We've officially someone's gonna steal that from like foreign wrestling, and they're gonna put a mime in the ring now.
I just made something so stupid that it might actually work. And
on November 4th, 2019,
I had a great idea about putting a mime. Matt Kearns, had this great idea, and I paid all the money.
You had the great idea.
See, Kristen agreed. That's second. So yeah.
I mean, we all know that Harloff is going to take our ideas.
He never takes any of our ideas. Oh well. Hey, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. He doesn't need to take our ideas. Malcolm, what do you think about Winston Marshall being the next confirmed manager?
Me or Malcolm?
Malcolm.
I think Winston as a manager makes a lot of sense. He's really good on the mic. And just from the cutscenes, like it's going to be interesting to see what the dynamic is because if he can take Zipper, the question is, will he, or will he take him and make his life miserable? Or will we just leave him sort of not picked? So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there because he was talking about wanting to make Zipper's life miserable. I don't know if that means he wants to pick him up as a.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He takes him onto his team just to like really like mess with him the whole
He
time.
puts him up
That's
against all the
awful.
difficult opponents.
That's awful. Yeah, he like fights to
It's
make
like,
sure
okay,
he
so
only
we
fixes,
need
like,
someone to play
fangirl
Dan
every
Merle.
time.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you next, Zip. I got you next match.
The best match you're ever
The
gonna have.
best match you're facing John Roca.
And Dan Merle. You are facing the founding fathers
on Jeopardy.
in a 1-on-2 match.
It's a handicap match, champ. It's a handicap.
Are we supposed to be impersonating Winston or just like a wrestling person? I don't know.
I'm not sure what we're doing anymore.
It was a funny bit. It was a funny bit. Just go with it, Matt.
It was funny. Matt, why don't you tell us your thoughts on Winston Marshall managing in 2020?
I like how you were like, what are your thoughts on Winston Marshall? Not managing.
Yeah,
like there were two separate.
clarify.
Well, my thoughts on Winston Marshall are Winston Marshall. He's a very good dude.
No hot takes, please, Matthew.
What?
What?
What did you say?
Nothing.
Sorry.
Winston Marshall managing. Let's.
Yeah, Winston Marshall.
grab this
He's
man,
good on the mic. He's been around the game for a while, so he'll do good. It all depends on the team he gets, but as a manager, he'll do well. He'll do well.
I don't disagree with you. I think that he's got a lot in general. Like whenever he was playing a match, he always really impressed me with the way that he would do his promos and all this stuff. I was really excited when he would have a match to see his promos. And, you know, maybe his gameplay wasn't the best, but not everyone is going to be like a machine, not a Janine, the machine, but like a machine in general, like Paul, the cyborg. The fact that his nickname isn't the cyborg yet is actually really making me upset, but different issue. Yeah, I'm just excited to see him. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to bring a lot of humor to all of this. And I can't wait to see, who he drafts, who his kind of first picks are in this whole thing. Now we're going to go and talk about Mara's confirmed match in New York. I think this is fine, actually. I've never been a huge proponent of her getting a belt match right out of the bat. But I think that this kind of makes it so that she has to wait a little bit before she gets it. Like she's not getting it right away. A puppy. Distracted by puppies.
It's Kristen's kryptonite.
A puppy. No, she's not getting the match right away. She's got to wait for it. You know, she's got to, sit on all of that. I came back in and it's been 6 months and I still don't have a match thing. And I think this is fine. Whoever she plays, I think it's going to be difficult to get that ring rust because she's never had to deal with that. I think that's going to be an issue for her. I'm not so sure that I'm sure she's preparing, but there is a big, there's always a risk when you take a break and then come back that your first match back is just not really great because you're not used to playing anymore. You're not used to the lights and all that. So hopefully that doesn't affect her too bad. But this match being live in New York for a belt, makes me really nervous for her performance. And maybe that's wrong to be nervous about it, but at the same time, yeah, it makes me real nervous for her. I just hope that that ring rust doesn't get her. Malcolm, what do you think about this announced match with Mara and the winner of the Inner Geekdom belts from Spectacular?
Yeah, I mean, I like this match to because it was going to happen from the way the cutscenes are going. It was probably going to happen in one run or another. And I know there's some people in the comments that think she should have gotten a number of contenders match, done that to sort of for New York. But the fact that she's given this match, because the way Emma sort of worded it makes sense, because her offer was a championship match at New York as a season opener, and this is what she's getting. So the way the cutscene sort of played out, it made sense, and it was actually a very entertaining cutscene too. With Mara going, "Oh yeah, I don't want it anymore. I want pizza and stuff to entice me over there." It's like, sure, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who she sees. Will it be a rematch against Mike, or will it be what I think the match is going to be? And she's going to be facing Kevin. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of also under the impression that she is going to be facing Kevin because, as everyone knows, I stan the Smets, and I think he's going to win. Also, the last person I stand in Inner Geekdom is no longer playing in Inner Geekdom, so my only stand left is Kevin Smets. So, yeah, it's all good. Matt, yeah, I know that you are kind of with me on this whole Mara not getting an immediate title shot. Are you okay with her getting it in New York, or do you still think that she should have had to fight her way back for it?
Look, I said on the summit when when her return happened, I think that I understand that she was promised something last season. She left the league, and the league changed exponentially. I don't think that they had to, for any reason, uphold anything. If I, let's say, Kristen said I was the next host of the summit, and after she left, and I decided right before she left to leave the channel, if I came back and the channel was completely different, I don't think you guys would need to uphold that. Having said that, look, I don't make the decisions. I'm not going to pick it outside of the New York event because, one, I'm way too lazy to make a sign and do that. But no, look, I still think she should have had to fight for it. I think what should happen was the winner of Smets, Chandru, or whoever Smets would have been playing should have had to play her, and that's me being nice, because if I had it my way, she would be back in the ringer, having to play at least 3 matches to get up to
That's ruthless.
In title contention. Well, I'm just saying. That's just me. But regardless, having all that, it's happening. Is it what I would have wanted to happen? No, but it's happening, and I think Mike is going to win against Smets, and then he's going to win against Mara. Any of his Smets wins. Mara's a good Energita competitor, but I've said it again. Energita has changed exponentially. Yeah. Kevin and Mike are the two, now that Rachel's retired, they are the top 2 in the league. Yeah. And Mara having her first match be not only a title match, that's 5 rounds, a live event, which I was going to say most, I don't know about Doug. Me and Kristen have been to a couple of live events. They are fucking crazy.
Oh, they are.
And to have it be your first match out the gate, I don't think that's setting Mara up for success. If she's able to do it, hey, good on her. But I just don't see going up against one of the 2 top people at a live event. No.
Yeah, I mean, if she does win the belts under those circumstances, like, that's really quite impressive.
Yeah, good for her.
So this is a huge high risk, high reward kind of thing. You know, you put yourself out there at a live event, knowing you haven't played in about over a year, and all this stuff could go wrong, and you could get ring rust and just completely fail, or you could surprise everyone and take the win. I think that's huge. That's just huge either way. Doug, I think you're our last one to talk about this. And
oh my God.
Your dog's really cute. You've made the whole chat only want to talk about the dog.
His name is Gizmo, guys, and he's a beautiful husky.
Oh my God, I love Albert. Albert says Matt is saying great points, but I keep getting distracted by Doug's dog.
True. I mean, I know
thanks, Albert.
I know what Matt was saying. I understand, because they're kind of my same feelings. Like, I would have really preferred Mara to have at least a number 1 contender match against like Brandon or Chandru to get to that title shot. I mean, for me, that's what I would prefer. Just to kind of get her back into it. I mean, you're gifting her basically an immediate number one contender match. Most people don't get that. No one gets that. So, oh well.
Most people who
Doug, you didn't
and
actually
it's
give
not
us
only
your
that
thoughts.
she's getting that, but
Yeah.
the lead.
It's okay, man.
Oh,
It's
So me and my dog are of the same opinion. What do you think? What do you think? Live events, they're hard, right? They're hard. See, he's annoyed by it. He says they're hard. But he's like, I've seen her play in a live event and she won her belt in a live event. So there's that. She's also got one of the greatest live eventers in her corner. Yes, Mr. Dan Merle is in her corner. And no one's stealing my dog. Sorry, guys. We might have an event where, I'll be close enough to New York to bring him. I don't know. Maybe.
Chicago.
Bring him to Chicago. How? That's like a lot of airfare. So I'm gonna put you down. God,
no.
Just gonna immediately decrease by like 5.
Sorry, guys.
And we just lost half of our viewers. Thanks, Doug.
God damn it, Doug!
I'm the worst. I'm the worst, guys. I bring him on.
Old Doug back.
You want old Doug?
Okay, continue your thoughts.
So my thoughts are she's kind of already done the whole live. And she's kind of already had one of the biggest get under your skin people in the leagues get under her skin. And she's kind of ready for it, I think. She's also got, like I said, one of the biggest and best live event people that's ever played the match in a live event setting, Mr. Dan Merle, on her side to get her prep and keep her focused. I think she will probably I don't know. It depends. For this match, it will literally depend on what the wheel spins are and how they start off in the first round. I think that's what it's all going to come down to. If they both are juggernauts in the first round, it's that second round and it's that speed round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is it's all of the rounds that matter.
No, not all the rounds. Who needs a third round? Who needs a betting round?
It's all about how they play the game.
It's how they play
the game.
It's how many answers they get correct in a competition where the winner gets the most correct. Thank you, Doug.
Hot takes, guys. Listen, I'll go get my dog again and let my dog.
Was Malcolm so bored that he just literally leaned back and was like, "Oh, they're at it again." I just did like a John Lennon. I can't impersonate Malcolm.
That's perfect. I love it. I'm kind of with you. I think that she's got everything that she needs to win, right? Like she's got great matches behind her. She's got the right kind of people in her corner. She's got a live event that she did win a belt at already behind her. There's a lot of things that she can pull from. I'm just not sure that all of that is going to translate into this event because she's not played in a long time.
Yeah.
I just, that's what I'm more worried about is you come back after a long time. Dan is a great example of that. He is legitimately the best who's ever played the game. Arguably, sure, everyone's got their.
And who did he lose to?
I'm gonna mute that.
Andrew Guy.
He's arguably sure the best who's ever played the game. I think most people would argue that's correct. And he came back after an extended break and completely lost to Andrew Guy. And that shouldn't have happened. I don't think that would happen now. I think he would beat Andrew Guy now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? Andrew Guy TKO'd him. We can never forget that, and we'll never let you forget that.
Malcolm, what do you got?
The other thing that I actually just thought about too is I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Holt is the one that's facing Moa at the live event. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up with a stipulation or something that if Moa loses, then she goes sort of back to the end of the line or some kind of stipulation.
I can see Mike or Kevin doing that, honestly.
But the other thing that may change the fact is presumably this is after the draft. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever picks up Mara as the manager could change how she plays the game and how and they could change on Mike's side too. So
sure.
I mean, I think all of that's valid. We are going to move on because we actually have matches to talk about. We haven't even talked.
Yes, there were matches that happened.
There was matches last week.
Matches?
Matches. We don't need no stinking matches.
We're going to talk about the Star Wars match first. It was between Andrew DeMolanta and Laura Kelly. Both of them played at the Chicago Celebration event. It was really great. I guess a lot of people don't quite remember what happened at that event. I remember. I was there. It was fantastic.
There, hey guys, does Kristen live in Chicago? Did she go to the Chicago event?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Thanks. You went to the New York event. I don't give you sass about it, son.
You give me sass about enough other things.
Sassy.
You deserve to have sassed.
Oh, wow. Look at that, Kristen. What a great comeback. Did your daughter give you it?
No, she's awake crying upstairs.
Yeah, no, I heard that. What a great parent.
John's up.
Hey, she abandoned me, man. I can say this.
Okay, so I love this match. I thought that potentially it would be great to make this a three-way match between Andrew, Kelly, and also Molly Damon, because all three of them were just fantastic at Celebration. I mean, each one of them could, I think, actually beat Alex, and that's kind of, at this point, you need to make this title match as competitive as possible, and I think any one of those three could make it a super competitive match, but I think that Laura and Andrew were the correct to pick to make it as competitive as possible. Obviously, I picked Andrew to win. Maybe not obviously, but I did. If you watched her reaction, I picked Andrew to win. I know that he had that one mistake in round one, and then ridiculously awful round 3 question about the movie that shall not be named. But
Stinky.
It's an awful movie. I think overall, I was really just impressed beyond belief, actually, at both of these people, because I think that these were some of the hardest Star Wars questions we've had in general. Like, I think there have been some really hard questions in the Iron Man. Some of them were really difficult. And in the previous, the Star Wars Celebration, the title match, there were some really hard ones. But I think this match, there were a lot of deep cuts. And the fact that both of these competitors, they took any hits with, stride, and they just kept going and kept playing. It was just really impressive, and all props to Andrew. You lost, but you lost. I guess they say you lost up, right? That's the saying. Like you showed that you belong in a number 1 contender match for Star Wars. You belong with the crowd, right? And super congratulations to Laura. I think she just. I don't know that anyone at Celebration expected her to be as good as she was, and I'm super happy that she's going to be at that title match, because I think that it's just great to have the representation. Honestly, there's not been a lot of women represented in the Star Wars League, and the fact that we finally get one going up for a title is super exciting. So I want to get everyone's opinion about the match. We're going to start with Matt, because we haven't started with Matt yet. And we want to make everything fair. Fair is fair. So, Matt, what were your thoughts about the match between Laura Kelly and Andrew DeMolanta?
Well, as many of you know, I'm quite a fan of the Wars of the Stars films. If you can't tell the things behind me and what I'm currently wearing, which Andrew, by the way, Bestman Fatigues Brothers for life. I wore this for you. Yours is better quality than mine, but we're not going to talk about that. It was a great match. I always like watching the Star Wars matches and trying to play along. I wasn't on the reaction this time, but still always try to play along. And yeah, Chris Liskey, boy, you're just deep cutting it. Yeah, it was a really good match. I think Andrew definitely proved, despite the fact that he lost, he still proved that he's a formidable person in this league. And yeah, his last question was just, come on, man. But Laura winning,
that
stupid
Clone Wars question.
Okay, that is a interesting. I just read the chat. Stop. Yeah. Good on her. I think she's gonna give Damon a good run for his money, honestly. Which is not the easiest thing to say, considering the fact that his job is literally to explain Star Wars for me to say that. But yeah, me and Chris and I talked about this off air. The Star Wars League, despite it being my favorite film series, hasn't been, and I think it's just because we've only really gotten title matches recently. It hasn't been my favorite thing, but people like Laura and Andrew being in the league kind of makes me a lot more interested, and maybe I'll have to stop my joke of Sam Witwer showing up and reclaiming his belt. I mean, I'm not going to, because I want that to happen.
I want that so bad.
I want it to happen so badly.
If Sam shows up at Spectacular, I will freak out. You will hear me literally screaming so loudly.
You will hear me in New York.
I want my belt.
Look, I don't even care if he reclaims the belt. I just want to see Sam Witwer play again. Like, I'm just imagine it's Spectacular. You know, Alex, Laura comes out to, I forget what her intro music was here. You know, Alex comes out to the solo trailer music, and then they're about to play. It's like, Laura, are you ready? Champ, are you ready? And then it's like, the lights go, and then you hear the Star Killer music. Bam, red lightsaber lit up. Sam Witwer's back. How fucking awesome would that be?
If that freaking happened, I think that
it's gotta happen with two lightsabers, though. It's gotta happen too.
Would lose their.
No, that's Force Unleashed 2, which we will not talk about.
Yeah, it would bring down the entire house if that happened. No question.
Yes, kind of like how Star Killer brought down a Star Destroyer. Connections.
Just like that, but it's not going to happen.
Sure, you know what, Kristen? You say a lot of things won't happen that I predict correctly. Shall we go back to the Mike Kalinowski is not going to be Intergatum champion?
And that's never going to happen again.
It happened again.
I don't believe you. But yeah, let's move on to Doug. What did you think about this Star Wars match here?
Man, this match was great, and it reinvigorated my love of this league. I really did love this league when it first started, because it was like something really niche, and it was like just for like the Star Wars fans kind of out there, and like everybody's getting into it. But man, those deep cuts, yes, and everybody can hate on that animated movie, but unfortunately it is canon, which means it gets thrown in and just people forget about it. Matt's face.
I like that movie because I like that show a lot. So many people shit talk it like Chris.
Listen. The movie is trash. The series is good. I will give you the series being good, but the movie is trash. But no, I mean, let's be honest. It was a one question slip up. And Andrew, that's not coming at you at all. It could have happened to any player.
Well, and honestly, the way that it happened, it's a ratio, like,
and it's just that. It's the ratio. If you don't,
it's just a ratio. He got the important part of the ratio down. So
yeah.
So it's like you didn't get the point, but you knew the answer. Like, you had the answer down, but you didn't get the point. And that's, I think, what makes it suck even more is that the answer was correct. Yeah, I mean, that's tough for anybody. But yeah, it's just a technicality. What else, Doug? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's quite all right. I enjoy being cut off.
Okay,
no, it's
whoa, not on stream, buddy.
I meant in traffic. I enjoy being cut off in traffic.
Why?
I don't know, because it lets me get angry at some points, and then I get to actually let some steam out, and I'm not the cinnamon bun that I am. No, but I very much agree that this match was super down to the wire. It literally let's not also forget that Andrew's cutscene was amazing. I highly enjoyed that cutscene. I thought it was great.
You mean the intro?
Yeah, nice cutscene.
It's technically a cutscene because they definitely cut away from the studio and put you a scene.
No, that was live.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? It was super live. Andrew, would you mind in the chat telling us how your GoPros worked with an AA?
No, why are you disagreeing with Kristen?
I would totally say entrance of the year.
She was at Chicago.
Yeah, I was.
Come on, man.
No, I loved that.
Intro. Guys, I'm pretending that I can, Luke Skywalker myself somewhere right now. Let's see if it works. Oh God, it didn't work, guys. Sorry.
Didn't work. Malcolm, you're last to talk about this. We have like a couple little points to discuss as well around this, but what were your thoughts about the match in general?
I loved this match. Was great. It goes to show there's really not a lot of surface level questions there. I know Rachel's mentioned it in the chat earlier. I think they're saving a lot of the surfacey level stuff for the inner geeking division, just so it's not questions like what color is Luke's trousers in scene 50 of Empire Strikes Back.
Probably brown. I'm gonna assume that was probably when he was wearing his best of skis.
I'm gonna say tan.
But yeah, but ultimately a lot of the points that have been brought up are ones I was going to talk about. But I mean, Laura was basically perfect the whole game. Like I think there's only she only missed one question the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Andrew did a good play with the attempt at a challenge to because as he brought up, like the books really makes it those questions that hard at times as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was
a smart challenge to make,
for sure.
But it's also one of those ones that, just like everyone else, I really loved Andrew's entrance. It's really going to be a battle between Bibbs and Andrew for entrance of the year.
100%.
And on Andrew's channel, he actually put a video showing sort of how it came to be. But if Andrew comes to pick me up in his X-Wing, take me to Spectacular, then I can be there. But yeah.
Aww.
I agree with you. And actually, there's a lot of great videos over on Andrew's channel. And the fact that he doesn't have like 1 million subscribers is really sad, because he actually has just some fantastic videos on there, and he definitely needs more love. So if you haven't checked any of them out, at least watch the behind the scenes of that entrance, because it's really a cool video itself. But go and look, and if it's something you like, you should subscribe to his channel. That's my plug for my.
That's her thoughts on the match. It's just Andrew's channel.
I want to give everyone like real quick thoughts. So Andrew posted this in the chat. Hot take: I don't think Sam can compete in the division at this point.
Hey, I never said he could. I just wanted to be at the match.
Diatribe, Matt. I just want a quick thought. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Okay, Malcolm.
I easy to study up.
Okay, what about you, Doug?
I actually absolutely do. I agree. I 100% agree with this.
Yeah, I'm with you actually. 100. I think the league is just so much more deep cut now. Yeah.
The man who corrected Dave Filoni, can't compete in Star Wars anymore.
Watch his 5-way.
I'm not saying.
Watch his 5-way.
I just think that he hasn't had time to study.
Even Luke Skywalker lost a hand in a lightsaber duel once, Doug.
Yeah.
One of you people on this side of my screen said that he hasn't had a lot of time to study. I agree with that statement. It doesn't mean I won't scream like a small child if he shows up.
Oh, no, I'd be excited. Do I think that he'd be able to compete with the two players that are on the desk? No. I think they do nothing but probably study. One runs a damn channel about Star Wars, and one has a podcast about Star Wars.
One line, and then it's like, nah, but when we're all shitting on Matt's points, we can have more than one line.
It's true.
God, I love the summit.
That's what we're here for. And then the only other thing, like, there's a little bit of question about that challenge that Andrew had, in that it's like taking knowledge from like the book canon and putting it into movie canon, and it's like, what should count and shouldn't count in terms of Star Wars knowledge here, because it's not that Laura was not correct. It's just you're only taking the movies into account and not taking anything else, then she wasn't correct. And so it's like there's a lot of question on like, would the judges even know that? You know, like would they
I think
the difference?
Just because I knew some people don't even know that was originally filmed to be Wedge until Dennis Lawson replaced that actor.
Actually, like the hardest question I got right was that Wedge one.
That was Wedge. Like I know that because I'm a freaking nerd. But
I'm like, wait, but is it Wedge?
I think that
it's a huge question, honestly.
I think that, and maybe before Spectacular it's too much to ask, but I think that Christian and Mark and whoever else, Chris Lischke, whoever else is coming up with sort of the rules for writing the questions specifically to, well, not just to, for the Star Wars division, I think they really need to sit down and decide, is this Star Wars movie trivia or is this Star Wars trivia? Because honestly, those are two very separate things. Some people might not think it, but they're very separate things. Because if it's just Star Wars trivia, then it gets into, well, there's legends, there's this. Personally, I think it should be movies because it's the movie trivia Schmoedown. What's in the movies is what is being debated. All the answers have to come from the movies.
Right. Will
I be upset if they comics and stuff like that? No. That's why I think Andrew's challenge was totally valid. I have nothing against Laura that she knew the name of now in canon who it is, but I think that because of right now as it stands, this is the movie trivia Schmoedown Star Wars League, not the movie and comics and books and whatever Pablo Hidalgo and the Lucasfilm Stories groups are coming up with.
Yeah,
league.
No, I'm with you on this one. I think that if they want to make it open to other venues, it makes it literally impossible for anyone except Alex to win, honestly. But if
there's too many variables at that point,
then they have to actually like set that up. They can't just say, well, this is only about the movies, but we'll also accept the old canon in your answers. It's a lot. It's just to open it up is a huge can of worms, honestly. And so while she wasn't wrong, it also just wasn't right in the context of the competition. But they have to have someone on the desk who knows enough about canon so that if they don't Wikipedia the issue,
that was also my fans. Look, have I used Wikipedia before? Yes, but Wikipedia is still Wikipedia.
Well, it's Wikipedia.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Doug, what do you got to say, Doug?
No, it's cool. I just want to answer Garth's question, or not question, but something that he stated in the chat. Sometimes they ask about characters' names, and their characters aren't said in the movies. The character's name is always in the credits.
Yeah, it's in the credits. Therefore,
the only thing that kind of is a question is all like the tech and the spaceships, because those aren't always said.
Yeah, that
or the credits.
Again,
there's like movie, like there's secondary movie stuff.
Like they're in the movies, but like
it's in the movie. The name is somewhere attached.
Specific fit, like Kyber Crystal for the longest time wasn't said in a movie, and yet Star Wars fans knew that was what powered the lightsaber. Yeah. Like there's just and again. For all we know, they're having these conversations behind the scenes.
I'm sure they are.
We just don't know it. They probably are. I think after this match, they definitely are.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's real tricky.
Let's finish and then we'll go over to Malcolm.
So the only other way that I could see them getting around the non-canon, the comic books, and all that, add a slice to the wheel. Or add it as a category. If you don't do that, it's strictly movie stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be. That's what it always is. Because if you look at Inner Geekdom stuff, it's all movies.
It's true.
Yeah.
They don't go outside of that.
They don't. I mean, look at Mike. Mike lost his match against Coy because he used a name for the Joker from the comics, but not in Suicide Squad.
Right.
Clown Prince of Crime is what he's called in the comics all the time. Not in Suicide Squad.
Right. Which is what they were asking about.
They were asking specifically for Suicide Squad.
Right. So let's shoot it over to Malcolm as our last kind of take on this. Because this is one of there were a couple things that were controversial this week, and this is one of them. And it kind of actually bleeds
couple?
into the other one.
I love how it's movie trivia. We gotta talk about controversies.
And there's always something, man.
Always
So what's your take on this?
I mean, I think at this point, because even going back to Rachel's comment about surface level questions about Star Wars League being generally deep cut now, I think they're at the point where I think they're going to need to expand to TV with Mandalorian coming out and Rise of Skywalker. I mean, while yes, it is called the movie trivia Schmoedown Star Wars division, I think they're at the point where just for the Star Wars League, I think they might need to make that consider, because if they want to try and get more people to compete,
yeah, it needs to. There needs to be some easier questions in the bunch.
Yeah, because I mean, because if you look back to the Harry Potter exhibition match, that wasn't strictly just movies. They brought in book references and stuff, and that worked. Like, I think if you're someone knowledgeable in Star Wars, you do know a lot about the TV shows as well.
I will disagree a little bit in comparing to Harry Potter, because there's the Harry Potter movies and there's the books. Yeah, there are not comics and shows and thousands of novels and strategy guides and all these things. There was now, yes, are the books very expansive? Yes, but if you were going to compare the expansiveness of Harry Potter to Star Wars, that's why I think it's just because at that point it becomes like there's so many variables of questions that can be asked, it becomes an almost impossible league to study for.
Yeah. So Rachel Silverstein asks an interesting question. She says, do you think Star Wars is close to being retired due to the questions being too hard? Andrew, immediately before she asked this, said there's plenty of questions left to be asked. So obviously, like, the top tier competitors don't think so. But for, like, everyone else, all the rest of us schmucks, it is getting really difficult. And I remember Matt was on this call as well. Sklisky wanted to run some of the questions for, I think, the match last year at Spectacular, just to make sure.
Yeah, the Chicago match. Yeah, we ran questions with him.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure none of them were too crazy or too easy or whatever. Like, he just needed to gauge. And I was like, man, I got like half. And I thought, man, I did
a little bit better than Kristen, but I still didn't do crazy.
But even then, like, that was last year. We've had a whole year of gameplay since then, and the questions have only gotten harder.
So, me and Kristen weren't no slouches in Star Wars either. I mean, we're not Andrew or Alex.
No. I mean, I'm definitely not great anymore, definitely, but I was fairly decent.
I could have been a contender when the league started, but not anymore.
I mean, it is getting harder, and it's going to continue to be harder for some of these new people to jump into this league. And that's, I think, it's less about the questions being too hard. It's about, can you continue to get competitors interested in the league if the questions are at that level?
I will agree with Andrew that there are still questions we asked. Of course, Star Wars is expansive, but are there questions to where you can run a full league with a lot of, because let's not forget that Inner Geekdom for a bit, it was like Jason and Rachel and Mike, the belt was going around, and we were all like, that kind of sucks because that's no fun. And then Inner Geekdom changed and it expanded. Now it might be my favorite league to watch.
Literally having two more competitors in Inner Geekdom has put so much freshness into that league.
Yes. And it makes it so much more exciting.
Me feeling like Inner Geekdom was like, at the bottom of the leagues at the beginning of the year, because there was like, everyone was it was 3 people fighting for the belt, and then you add 2 more people in, and I'm like, oh man, Inner Geekdom is going to be great in 2020.
And Star Wars is growing. I will say we didn't have people like Andrew and Laura, but it's just like I love Star Wars. I want this to be my favorite division of the Schmoedown, but as of right now, it's just like we kind of only have title matches and
Malcolm and then Doug.
I mean, what I was going to say is, I think once Rise of Skywalker comes out and is eligible to be asked about in the Star Wars, that's going to freshen it up a little bit next year. But after next year, we've kind of not confirmed what Star Wars movies are coming out, because there's a few movies that they're not going to be out until at least 2022 or 2021 or something. So there's a chance it could be getting close. I mean, well, yes, the other movies, there's still lots of questions to be mined from.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so Doug, I think you got something you want to say about this as well.
Andrew, you're just a goddamn encyclopedia. Come on, seriously. Garth asked the question, and then Andrew just answers right away. I'm like, I don't even know if I can look that up real quick.
Yeah, Andrew.
Can I just feel like 5% of your brain?
Here's the thing about Andrew is that I sat next to him at the belt match in Chicago, and I kind of like lean over to him after the matches are, and I'm like, "How'd you do?" He's like, "I missed like one." I was like, "Deep down, that would."
Oh, Kristen, were you at the Chicago event?
I was at the Chicago event. Matt, did you know?
Matt, did you not know that she was at the Chicago event?
I didn't know that.
We happened to be talking about Star Wars.
Malcolm, did you know? Did you know she was at the Chicago event?
What's a Star Wars?
I've mentioned it once or twice.
Oh, you missed 4. Excuse me, Andrew. Who missed 4 out of a 5 rounds match? Yeah, I mean, it was still really impressive. I mean, he knows his stuff. And
would you say it's impressive? Most impressive.
Yeah,
Call me up, coach.
I don't think that the league is dead. I just think we need more matches, and I think we need more competitors. And the fact that we added 4 this year is a great first step, yes. Especially for that, maybe one of them, their level of play wasn't great, but it was also the first time they played. It was in front of a live audience, and maybe they'll have better luck next time. But you had 3 people who played spectacularly, who could easily go in for a number 1 contender match themselves. And there's more people out there. I think we just have to find them and get the league to be more than 2 matches a year or 3 matches a year. It needs to be like not Inner Geekdom style, but it needs to have more to it than just here's a 4-way, here's a title match, here's a number 1 contender match, and here's another title.
That's what it's feeling like. It's feeling like we do a 4-way, we do it, we do a number 1 contenders match, we do a title match, rinse, repeat. If Inner Geekdom was still running like that,
it wouldn't
be a fun league to watch.
Yeah.
So then why not do what Inner Geekdom did?
Yeah, I mean,
hold a tournament
with it.
Hold a tournament.
That's what they should do.
I think that'd be great. I mean,
get
it helps
more players in.
Be more invested in the people playing.
I want more Warfather. I want more Warfather.
Well,
or War Papa.
War Papa.
I want War Papa.
I want War Papa. Papa, welcome back.
Papa, War. I need you.
I mean, I
need you.
I think if they want to do this more than what they've done it the last couple years, adding the TV shows is not a bad way to start to get more question base. There are a ton of questions in the movies themselves still. They can also start recycling ones from like the first season where they did
from the Iron Man.
It's like from the
Iron Man, from Force Bros versus Council.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you know those answers, you're not knowing them because they were answered in a Schmoedown. You just know the answers. I don't think there's any issue with recycling questions from the earliest seasons, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." I don't care. There's only like so many hours of Star Wars in the movies.
Also, guys, I used to write for the movie trivia Schmoedown. Okay.
Oh, did you used to write for the?
You don't know?
Did you?
I don't
did you
talk about it on air like you go to the Chicago event.
Oh, I went to Chicago. Did you know?
It's a grueling, crazy process to be a writer for it, and that was me just writing for like mostly singles and teams. I also wrote Star Trek for Geekdom, and that was for a long time I was the only one writing Star Trek, and it was crazy the amount of questions and how deep I would have to go. And that was when the league was still not what it is today. So I came, and God bless Salisky and his team of writers who do Star Wars, Jen, and all of them.
And I think one of the biggest blessings this year for Star Wars has actually been that Ken is writing a lot of the questions. I think that's fantastic. I think that was one of the smartest things they did in terms of question writing is have Ken, start writing some of these questions, because there's only so many times Salisky can rewatch Star Wars to try and like dig a question out of the movie. Ken just has the knowledge like at the forefront of his mind all the time. So
Yeah.
we'll tap that resource. We have another match to move on.
I was about to say we got like 6 minutes left in another match that we haven't even touched upon.
There was a lot to talk about. And the thing is, there's a bigger controversy in this next one, and it's okay. So let's move on to Smets versus Chandru. I loved this match. I think that me included, but so many people underestimated Chandru. I mean, he just from when he came in to how he played against Smets, he has improved so much. Probably the most improved this season. Really, really impressive. I think the way that he lost was very good. I mean, like, it's hard to say you have a good loss, right? Andrew had a good loss this week as well. I mean, it was just the way that you lose, you fight your hardest for it. And I don't think any match this week anyone gave up any way through. You know, he worked and tried and got as many points as he could. And there was some interesting calls that some people agree with and some people disagree with. And at the end of the day, he just didn't have, you know, his last round. Maybe if he had gotten his other numbers, he would have done better. He had different numbers picked if he was ahead or behind going into round 3. So maybe those other numbers would have served him better. I think for Chandru, the thing that he needs to look out for, and I mean this with the most respect, is that he knows the core inner geekdom stuff, the Marvels, the DCs, MCUs, DCEUs, Star Wars, all that stuff. He seems to know all of that very, very well. But when it gets into like the mixed bag categories, you know, you start talking about like barbed wire or the rock
Darkman,
or you know, he falls apart at those questions. And there's a lot of those weird movies in Inner Geekdom, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those are all in Inner Geekdom. You've got a lot of those kinds of movies that you don't think about when you think about Inner Geekdom that are in the category. And if you don't know them, you're going to lose 2 points or 3 points or 5 points. And that's huge. So he needs to start looking at some of those. He seems to have gotten his studying down for the bigger movies, you know, the MCUs. He needs to start rewatching some of these old ones. So I want to get everyone's opinions on the match. Doug, what do you think about the match between Smets and Chandru?
Controversies or no controversies? Not talking about them yet?
We'll talk.
Right, cool.
It'll be the last point.
All right, cool. No, I thought the match was very well played. It was just a couple simple mistakes that if you had a manager, I think he'd do a lot better. That's what it comes down to. With a manager, you can find certain points and look at what a competitor needs to work on compared to what he doesn't need to work on as much, and focus them down on that. He held his own. I mean, let's be honest, he did. He held his own against Smets. No one. There was 3 reactors on that video, and all 3 of us did not have him in the match.
Right.
And that's not saying anything against him. It's just how we kind of viewed the match. But if you're really looking down at it, it's how well was he prepared. Brandon is a different type of competitor than Smets.
Yes.
And to prepare for Brandon's one thing, preparing for Smets is something completely different. Not to say that Smets had his perfect game, because he didn't have a perfect game either. But that's the difference of the caliber of player.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that anytime you face a competitor, I think the way that you prepare for it has to change. I mean, you don't prepare for John Roca the same way you prepare for Josh McCouga. You know, you have to prepare mentally
whiskey that match.
Different ways of playing. And yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that Chandru has figured out how to prepare mentally for different competitors and how they play. But maybe, a manager would help him try and figure that out a little bit. I think that's a good point. What about you, Malcolm? What did you think about this one?
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, going up against Smets, it's really hard to beat. Hard to beat. But I mean, it'll be the only person that can beat Kevin isn't in the Inner Geekdom League in the Schmoedown. It's that's Robert Parker. So, but I mean, but there was a well played match, and I mean, Chandru did good, and I think with a manager he could do better because the opponent's choice just didn't stop
Yeah.
Kevin whatsoever. It's like he still almost went perfect in that round. I mean, there was a couple of times he had to go to multiple choice because he had to narrow it down in his head. But
the one Harry Potter one in that category was such a that was a tricky Skalisky question, as I like to say. It was like, that's definitely Dumbledore, and then you think about it and you're like, oh wait, no, that's not Dumbledore. Doug, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Matt.
Sorry. What do you give him with that? Like literally, what do you give him with that anymore?
Him on the wheel.
Yeah,
that's what you give him or Kalinowski. That's the hardest category. So he gave him the right category. It's just, what are you going to do? It's Smets. Not Matt. What do you got?
Yeah, Chandru definitely performed better than I thought he was going to. When I say that, it might come off like a big statement. Like, Chandru could beat me because I'm not good at inner geekdom. But I thought Kevin was going to win. Kevin won. It's going to be interesting to see him go up against Mike again. This match was a really good inner geekdom match. Like I said, the league this season, it's been really, really good. I think this was a good number one contenders match. It's going to be interesting to see how Spectacular plays out. And for Chandru, he's going to be in the draft. So who ends up being his manager, I think that's going to be interesting. I think Chandru, just kind of like what you said, Kristen, I think that it's good to have the I guess you could call them 5 basic food groups of inner geekdom down, like the things not everyone knows as well as you, but the things everyone knows. It's knowing the weird comic book movies, the Masks, the Darkmans, the Hellboys, the movies that you don't immediately think of as a comic book because, the Image and Dark Horse stuff like Spawn. But those are the things that can win you the match. Right. Because those are things like a Spawn question could pop up as a 5-pointer if you get mixed bag. Because it's a bag of shit of a movie, but
yeah, it's because you can literally get anything, and
those all count if they're based on a comic. They count in their geekdom.
All of those, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle questions that you're like, oh shit, I forgot that is an inner geekdom, movie.
Yeah,
which you don't think about it, but then you're like, oh yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 can be an inner geekdom, guys. Let's just take a
yes, it can.
About that.
Phantom isn't that weird.
Yes,
it's just, I agree. It's completely a normal question for inner geekdom. It's just you don't think about the Phantom until they ask a question about it.
Oh, I think about the Phantom all the time. Billy Zane is a beautiful man in that film.
I mean, Billy Zane's a beautiful man in any film.
I know, but I'm saying, you see, man, purple spandex and Speedo never looked so good on a man before.
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to talk about what everyone probably wants us to talk about, or maybe not. They might have heard it to death. At this point, I think we've all heard it to death. But we are going to talk about it just a little bit. So there's the controversy in that when Chandru was answering the question of what Dumbledore's sister's name was, he pronounced it incorrectly. Pronunciation is a huge part of the Schmoedown in round 2. If you don't pronounce the name right, you get Lena Headley or whatever, and you don't get the points. He said Ariane, not the right answer. There was a definite pause, and then Kevin, he threw the challenge down on him getting to try again, basically. I think that it was fair. There was a definite pause. There was enough time for Mark to make some weird face, because he did. He kind of went, which means that's not the right answer. So for me, I think the challenge was fine. I think that they made the right decision. I think that it all kind of, it was the way it was supposed to be. Now, do I disagree that people are asking for the rule book so that this stuff can be more defined? Absolutely not. I think the rule book should be out there for the general audience to kind of see, so that we don't have, every time something like this happens, people
the comments
complaining and pooping their pants about someone challenging and getting it right and they don't agree with it. It honestly, it would help a little bit if we could just get a definite, like, this is the rule. If the competitors know the rules are, I think the fans should know as well. You don't have any sports where the rule book isn't public, you know?
Sure.
They might just not have it written up kind of thing yet. If they need help with that, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who write Schmoedown related things who would love to help you. But
6 seasons. There should already be something written. That's the only critique that I have.
Let's not say 6 because I think the 2014-20. Yeah.
3, by season 3, they had kind of an ideal rule set.
Yeah.
Then things started to change.
Yeah.
So I think in season 3, they should have maybe had something down for each competitor. And then once you fine-tuned it.
Yeah.
I know Rachel says in the chat, you have to immediately correct yourself as a competitor.
You can't pause.
Know what the rule is. If there's enough of a pause, that's too much, right? Like if there is a pause in between answer 1 and answer 2, it's too much. If you say Ariane and then Ariana, then yes, that's fine. But there was too much of a pause in between. We could also talk about Kevin not having the right answer for Sectum Sempra.
He did. I replayed that video.
Sempra.
I replayed that video like 4 times.
He admitted that he said Sectrum Sempra.
I went back and watched a Harry Potter video where Harry Potter pronounced it the same way that he pronounced it.
Well, that's fair, but it's also with the British accent, so I don't know. They're weird, right?
Yeah.
He's New Zealand.
I don't know. He's got a weird accent. Malcolm, what do you think?
Whoa. Damn.
He knows.
I mean,
he thinks we have
I mean, for my end, American accents sound weird. So,
there you go.
Although Malcolm, you've only heard them come out of our mouths. So.
Library.
Yeah, and I live in Jersey. I have the worst mouth in the world, man.
You live in Jersey?
I do.
True. I mean, it's all
phase 4.
Malcolm, I want to get your take on all of this. You know, do you agree with the challenge? Do you agree with the ruling? And you know, the rule book. I want all of your opinions on all this because there's a ton of this going around right now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the challenge, and because there was a definite pause, and I know a lot of people out there are going, oh, but this is what happened with Sam, this is what happened with Mike, but like, but that was before the rule book sort of came. The rule book was sort of finalized at the start of the year, so it's like that was when they sort of said there has to be, you have to correct yourself immediately and not have a pause in between, or something to that effect. There's probably something to that effect, but I agree. I would love to see it made public, but I mean, that's up to Christian on whether he does that or not. So
yeah, I have a feeling that it's just one of those, like, it's going to be made public eventually. They just don't have it like perfected yet. Maybe like the competitors know what the rules are, but the fans, like, it's not like in a document yet to hand out, basically. Like pamphlets on the street, they're going to become like Scientologists,
Jehovah's Witness,
handing out pamphlets.
Do you like to hear the word of the Schmoedown?
Do you have a minute for me to tell you about our Lord and Savior, the Schmoedown?
Excuse me, do you have a minute to hear about our Lord and Savior, Mark Riley, and his wonderful hair? It's going to save our world. Just give me a moment.
Well, Matt, while you're talking about Mark Riley, why don't you talk about the issues with this challenge and the rulebook?
Look,
it all fits together.
Release the Snyder Cut. I mean the rule book. Look, I said to Malcolm after I watched the match, I immediately messaged Malcolm and I was like, people are gonna make this a thing, aren't they? And Malcolm was like, it's already a thing. I'm like, I remember why I don't go on the MTS page. Look, he paused. You have to immediately, let's say, I don't know, let's say, who was the star of Kickboxer? And I, for whatever reason, started to say Seagal. But I went, Van Damme. And I immediately changed. I don't go Seagal. Van Damme. Because that's giving, yes, are you figuring out? But that is, you've already given your answer. That's it. That answer is using movie game using game show terms, your answer's locked in.
Yeah.
You have to immediately change it. Like there can't be a beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the call was completely correct. Chandru, it sucks that you people could say you lost the game because of that, but like, look, those are the rules. Now, given the rule book, I think that it should be released. If for nothing else, and look, guys, the rule book being released is not going to stop these conversations. It's just inevitable because there are always going to be people, and now I preface this with I am making large brushstrokes here. There are always going to be people who are going to find a little nitpicky shit in these matches. Believe me, we've been doing this show since 2017, I want to say. We've been doing this since
91st episode of this show.
I'm sorry?
This is our 91st episode of the summit.
We've been doing this for almost 100 episodes, guys. So we know every controversy pretty much since 2017 we've talked about. So we know. We're all on the Facebook group. We all, sadly, sometimes read the YouTube comments. So even if but I think the rule book being released is at least going to make like our job a little easier. Because right now we're kind of just sitting here, we had with the Star Wars discussion to where we're like, well, maybe they're talking about this, maybe we're not. We don't know. I think with that it's fine, but like with the rule book, like just maybe there's not a PDF file, but like release a PDF and just be like, here are the rules. And if you want to continue to bitch about this stuff, go right ahead, but these are the rules we're using. I also think maybe if they write it up, like putting it in a binder and then giving that to the judges, because I think that was the thing before the rules, before those meetings happened, that we know happened because the players have talked about them. There were pictures of these meetings. There was that big thing where there were issues of sometimes there were similar challenges,
right.
And depending on who was on the desk could affect that, and that was a big issue because it's like, well, when it was Ken and Christian on the desk, they made this call, but then Emma and Ellis made this call. That was the reason why the whole rules became a thing. That way the game would be fair. So I think the challenge was fair. I think the rule book should be released just to make our job as analysts easier, and just for fans, just to be like, so we know what it is we're talking about. That way we can have proper conversations, because that's all to make healthier conversations in the MTS group, in the YouTube comments, is if we all know. Because right now, what we're doing here, what they're doing in the YouTube comments, what they're doing in our live chat, is we're all saying what we think is happening. And of course, people like Andrew and Rachel, they're competitors. They actually know the shit. But like for all of us, we're just kind of saying, well, we think this is what's happening. We think this is a defined rule. We don't know it is. And that's not good, because then it becomes a team white versus black thing, to where it's like, no, the rule is that you have to 0.5 seconds, or no, you can wait a couple minutes. Like, and at that point you get just people smashing into each other.
It makes it so that you don't have a definitive answer and you can't defend.
And that makes the conversations hard, because it's like, look, I could definitively say Luke Skywalker's lightsaber color in Return of the Jedi in the theatrical release is green. You can't debate that. It is green. If you tried to say it's red, you're wrong.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes it so that there are ways for people to do what they're doing now, argue that the challenge wasn't correct and that he should have got the points and whatever. If the rule book was out, then we would have those answers and we'd be able to say, hey, look, he waited this many seconds and therefore the challenge was okay, and blah, blah, you move on. We wouldn't have 20. I swear I approved like 20 posts within the first, once the spoiler ban was over, it was like 20 posts of, oh, the challenge. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
God, just have one post and I'll comment on them.
Oh, God.
Whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. Also, Rachel brought up in the chat that managers should have the rule book available for challenges, and so just like lawyers and stuff. So
I mean, I joked around when they announced they were going to do the rule book that Dagnino would have like a pocket-sized version.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That'd be smart.
It's not
smart.
It's not so much a joke as it is like it would be hilarious to watch him with that thing out for a challenge.
Do you guys remember? All right, so what is it? Airbud when the ref pulls out the
It doesn't say that a dog can't play
doesn't say-
basketball. Now, guys, look, if the rules for basketball weren't available, Airbud would have not been able to play in that game, and
Look at
that
that.
movie would have been pointless.
Exactly.
So there you go, Christian. Be like the movie where a dog plays basketball.
And
Exactly.
And football, and volleyball,
Come
and
forward.
tennis maybe was one of them. I think field hockey
Soccer.
was one of them.
Soccer was.
Wrestling, I think, at one point. And then they went to Space's Puppies.
And then they helped Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean, where's our puppy Schmoedown with dogs compete against each other?
I want to see Leia
Listen,
and Snickers play each
and
other in a
Gizmo,
Schmoedown
my
match.
dog. Christian, hit me up. We got it, dude. Cutest dogs in the world. Throw them down. Well, not throw them down. Place them. Let them compete.
You better
right?
hope the Godfrey doesn't compete. She'll just eat all the other competitors.
They just put their paws up to the answers. Like you give them a spread of pictures. Who is Luke Skywalker? And they just whoever hits Mark Hamill gets the points. And it's like, yeah, look, it's like the Puppy Bowl. It would work for the Schmoedown.
The pregame for Spectacular.
But
Yes!
look, this is the thing. We need the rules for the Puppy Schmoedown to be released.
We need those
I mean,
rules.
as far as we know, dogs are allowed to compete. There's no rule saying that.
There isn't.
We don't know
There
what the
isn't.
rules are.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, but we have come full circle. We started with Doug's dog at the beginning, and now we're ending with Airbud. It's a perfect way to transition to our last segment of thing. That's going to be our predictions for this week's Schmoedown. Unfortunately, one of the matches has legitimately dropped while we were live.
We better have watched it.
So, yeah, I think Garth already watched it. Please don't put spoilers in the chat because we obviously have been live and not watching this match. So it's the Odd Couple versus Only Stupid Answers. I have the Odd Couple. What about you, Doug?
Yeah, I got the Odd Couple. I mean, I think it would be pretty funny if Only Stupid Answers won, but I got the Odd Couple.
For sure. Malcolm, what about you?
I'm going for the upset and going for a surprise Only Stupid Answers win.
Well, you know what they say. Only stupid answers are allowed. No one says that. What about you, Matt? What do you got?
As Only Stupid Answers, I'm when Paul Preston's on.
No, that's the movie, guys.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Then I guess, despite the fact that I don't really like the Odd Couple that much, I'll say the Odd Couple.
That's
Only Stupid Answers is Sam Bashor and DJ Waldridge.
You guys, this is why
Source
I
Red
don't
Dark.
do. This is why I'm not good at this show anymore because I don't know shit anymore. I used to. There was a time when I was the champion of Schmoedown Trivia and I beat Abe.
I don't know what to tell you. You got to watch more matches.
Was
the
it
more
it?
matches I watch
Maybe
of
not.
the Odd Couples, the more of a fan I am of them.
I like Jeff a lot, like as
Mark.
a person. No, I like Jeff. That's the weird thing. I like Jeff and Mark like outside the. And again, they're doing their job because I don't like them because they're heels. They're performing exactly what they're supposed to. They're doing their job too well. Is the problem for me.
The more I see them play together, the more I like them as a team.
Yeah.
I think that I want them to win.
Good.
To go forward. The next match is Who's the Boss versus Stinky in the Brain. Keep in mind we do have one of the competitors in that match. Actually, in the Brain is the upset because there's got to be an upset in the tournament. There always is, and so that's actually my pick for the upset. Sorry, Matt. Do I make that choice because it upset you the most? I make that choice because it'll upset you the most, and also because Rachel's the best. And yeah, all the way. What about you, Matt? Oh, I know who you're gonna pick. Never mind.
Oh, I don't even get to talk.
No. Are you also picking Inky and the Brain, Matt?
No. And I like Rachel and Devon. I told Rachel this when the bracket was announced, I said, Rachel, I love you. You know I root for you. You know that we talked about me being your manager for next season. But my boys, the future champs that are going to take it from the old man and the hat man, it's who's the boss, guys. Look, Mark Riley, GOAT, 2-time champ. Ben Bateman broke his back just so that he could have an excuse to not work so that he could just watch movies all the time, guys. Oh, keep doing those hand things. You know what? You know what? No, I'm sorry. The same people did those hand things last year during the Anarchy tournament. Who ended up winning the Anarchy tournament? Who's the boss? The people on here, they were doing that hand thing back when Mike was going for the belt the first time, and who got it right and he won the belt? Who got it right the second time and won the belt? Who kept telling me people like Kristen, who said Roka's going to hold the belt? He's already beaten Riley 3 times. And who did Riley beat in that match? People, they disagree with me. They tell me I'm wrong. And yet, how many times am I proven right?
And how many times are you wrong, though?
You know what, Kristen? Less than you.
I don't know about that. I'm right sometimes. Do I sometimes purposely pick someone I think is going to lose because I know it'll make you upset? Absolutely, I do. But
yeah, Doug, hide
this
from
time,
facts.
They're just going to choke on their ambitions. And
how dare you use Rogue One in front of me? You don't deserve it.
Don't put him out you. Who do you think's winning this one?
Rachel, I owe you plenty of snuggle time with Gizmo, because unfortunately
his Gizmo?
Yeah, his name's Gizmo. He's brown and white. Listen, let's talk about Gizmo for like another 30 minutes. Let's not talk about this match. No, Rachel, you're an amazing competitor. Devon's great. I just do have who's the boss in this match, but I will let you pet Gizmo when I find the time to come up to New York for the match.
Okay. See, I mean, at least you get to pet a dog. That's a good
fair compensation. And Matt, you're wrong. The people that are going to win the tournament is the cinnamon buns, known as Shazam.
Oh, I was going to say the cinnamon rolls.
The cinnamon rolls. Listen, they're the same thing. They're the same thing.
Okay.
They're sweet. They're sweet pastries. Sweet pastries that are fluffy and delicious.
Meyer is legitimately the cinnamon roll.
You know who used to cook pastries? Tony Danzon, who's the boss.
Malcolm, you're last to pick for this one. Who do you got and who's the boss versus Zinky in the brain?
Look, as much as I like who's the boss, I'm actually going for the upset on this as well. I think Rachel's getting really better, and I think, and I mean she's definitely improved every match. So I think she has what it takes to beat who's the boss. And I mean Devon is good, but I'd love to see an upset, and this is probably the upset I'd love to see.
Oh my god!
I mean, there has to be an upset.
No, you guys want to see an upset just so you see me upset. Just be upfront about it.
Shazam!
You're not wrong. You're not
Shut
wrong.
up, Doug. No one asked you.
I cannot wait for our cinnamon roll to compete so that we can talk about him. But we're not
talking
about him. We're talking about our girl Janine the Machine and Ethan Irwin. Time Machine playing the Scream Queens. I have Time Machine, although the Scream Queens are fantastic. 100%. A great team. I wish they'd play more often. I have Ethan Irwin and Janine taking this. Janine has improved by far more than almost anyone else this season. She's just been studying so hard for this year, and Ethan is just Ethan. So I think they definitely have this match. I cannot wait to watch this one. It's going to be good. So Malcolm, Janine, and Ethan Time Machine versus the Scream Queens. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Scream Queens. They're probably up there, but I think there's no way they're going to take down Time Machine. Ethan is just so too good, and I mean Janine's no slouch either. I think together though, they're going to go back in time multiple times and defeat Scream Queens. Because this is the second time this year Ethan's faced off against Haley, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wouldn't be upset if Scream Queens won because I do think that they're a great team, and I think Haley and Kaylin are great. But it's just you're going up against Ethan.
It's almost like going up against Riley and Bateman.
Okay, well, go like you.
Stacey Howard.
It's true. Stacey Howard has beaten many
Stacey's already also beaten Mark Riley.
That's my point.
How many belts has Stacey Howard held?
It doesn't
How
matter.
many brackets has she broken?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Once again, no one asked you. Malcolm, no one asked you. Kristen, you are asking me things.
I agree. Matt needs a timeout. Go to your room. Oh, you're in your room.
Oh, I'm already in my room in New York, not in Chicago, because you left me in Burbank.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, it is. You didn't fight him on it.
Matt, we'll just get you out of the way. I'm just joking. Who do you have? Who do you have? Time Machine and Scream Queens.
I have a Time Machine. I agree with you guys. Scream Queens are great. They're a good team.
I have no idea.
But I think Time Machine. No, Ethan and Janine the Machine.
Matt has a software
comment from
yeah, Ethan. I'm just trying to elongate this. Ethan and Janine are a great team. They're knowledge based. They're good teammates. They fill gaps in each other. Scream Queens, they're good, but if I would not be upset if they won. I didn't even send in a bracket this time, so I don't really give a shit. So yeah.
I also forgot to send in a bracket. So oops. Doug, you're last for predictions.
Yeah.
This is what we got.
Bruh.
What you hanging 10 on that Schmoedown,
bruh. Listen, bruh. So, bruh, I got this match. I got this match hanging high 10 for the Time Machines, like totally, bruh. It's getting swifty. No, Swiffer, sweeping up the match, cleaning up the match.
Look at Doug making the references to the cleaning products.
All right, we've had fun with this too much. No, but yeah, no. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be upset with the Scream Queens upsetting this and breaking the bracket as well. I mean, if you looked at one clear-cut match, it's kind of this one or maybe the one that aired today as the ones that are kind of like, if anybody upsets, they'd be really surprised.
Yes.
So we could see a potential Stacey Howard case for the first round bracket breakers in this.
I would also say the family is in your if an upset happened, that would be another one.
Who's the family playing?
Isn't it
Wildberries?
Yes.
Wildberries?
Yeah.
No. I'm tired of the underestimating.
It's not underestimating.
It's a dewberry. It's a dewberry now because of that. The perfect round.
If the Wildberries win, that would be
the
awesome.
perfect round. The perfect round.
I will eat probably like something normal. I don't make bets about something gross. So
eat a blueberry pie. Anyway, that match. I don't know. Wild blueberries, berries.
Look at Doug making the references to the fruit that Chris has gotta eat.
Yeah. I don't know why we're doing this.
Look at Kristen being all annoyed. She's gotta attend to a child, but we're just gonna go and finish it.
No, I mean that even wouldn't be upsetting because of what they just did. I mean, if they're on point. I mean, Dewberry's one of the top tier players if he's on point.
Right.
He's just really
Let's
underestimated.
talk about this match when that's gonna happen.
Hey.
Sorry.
Hey.
Yeah.
What?
It's called doing a Dewberry now, so deal with it.
TMI, brother. And this comes from the guy who talked about Billy Zane.
I'm talking about the perfect
Let's
round.
Let's be fair. There is a bit of a difference between Late to the Party and Drew McWeeny and Andrew Guy. Late to the Party wants to make the show interesting. They chose something in round 2 to make the game more interesting instead of going for the kill. Andrew Guy ain't making anything more interesting. He goes for the kill.
Andrew Guy's already interesting enough. He doesn't need to do that.
He doesn't
just
care. He doesn't care about the game being interesting in terms of gameplay. He goes for the kill. He's Andrew Guy.
They don't call him dastardly.
I'll give you that. Nothing. I'll give you that. And this is going to be the biggest hot take of the show. They're both support players.
Who?
You get the hell out of
Andrew
here.
Guy and Drew McWeeny. They are support players. First of all,
all
right. So here, hold on. I will explain.
No.
Drew McWeeny with Sam Levine was a perfect team. Why? Because Drew McWeeny was an excellent support player to Sam's ability to lead the team. Sam led that team.
I don't agree with you. You look at what they spun 70s and 80s again and again and again.
But I'm not talking about knowledge-wise. I'm talking about ability to lead a team. There's a difference.
I don't think that you can say he's a support player because he's not like the leader of the team. Like he's answering the questions. Like those 70s and 80s questions, like probably 80% of the time that was him answering the question.
I think a support player is like Finstock in the 2015 tournament to JT. That was a support player, someone who could come in clutch and give a manuscript answer, but for most of the time it was
the reason I say this is because look at Drew McWeeny during an actual singles match. He's not good by himself.
He's cursed.
Not good by himself.
I don't know what it is about him outside of teams, but if they are both support players, why are they so good as a team together?
Because, all right. So first of all, who have they faced? Who have they faced?
I'm sorry.
Their first two matches kind of roll over teams.
They still play. Even if you have a team that's not necessarily like, the best team in the league, you still know if they play well together or not. Dude. They had 2 solid matches already that were well played together as a team.
This is like arguing against the Patriots being a great team in the Schmoedown because of who they played in the beginning. That you don't pick who you play.
I don't know. I mean, I get what
you
you're
don't
saying.
Pick who you play.
I get what you're saying in that Drew benefits from having a teammate. I wouldn't classify him as a support player, and I definitely wouldn't classify Guy as a support player.
TKO'd damn Merle for.
I just think that the way that Guy plays is different than what other people play. I guess I just disagree with your definition maybe of support.
I look at support players not as knowledge based. I look at support players of how they perform.
He's got that D&D stuff going on. That's
I do, guys. The D&D stuff, it's super important to me.
Let's go to plugs because I got a baby doing some
things.
We
can hear
that. So yeah, okay. So Doug, you got some stuff going on. Where?
Yeah. I got some super stuff going on. Check me out here in the fan leagues. And then, of course, we're doing the big push for Transvail. We've been doing it for a month now. The big push for Transvail. Check it out. YouTube.com/The Adventures of Transvail. All 4 episodes are up there. You can also check out podcast form if you can't watch it. Check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify under The Adventures of Transvail. The episodes are up there. And if you would be so kind, if you do feel that you want to support the show, besides watching, we do have a Patreon up, and that's patreon.com/The Adventures of Transvail. Super simple, guys. Super simple.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Malcolm, where can we find you and your 20 million shows that you're on?
But yeah, you can find me doing Reactors sort of whenever, somewhere on Sunday. You can catch the 69th episode of Rankin last night.
Nice.
Wait, I wasn't on it? On the 69th episode?
Talking about Martin Scorsese movies. Next week's episode is going to be top 12 Disney villains. So that's going to be a really interesting episode. I host Formula Random over on Formula Trivia. This week is an Adam Sandler match, and you can catch me all over the place.
Perfect. You had a missed opportunity for like some like cheeky topic for 69 episodes. But.
Dude, you could have done top 10
I missed out on
Reeves
the intro.
movies,
It was more of a case
Ted
when I made the
moments.
topics up. I actually completely forgot what number I was up to.
That's
Wasn't sure I was making up the StreamYard for Bankham's like, we're 69. Damn it.
69.
Somebody in the chat's curious about it.
On episode 420, you can do best stoner movies, and
yes,
that'd be great.
That's possible.
Because you'll definitely cover these things. I'm just saying. Matt, where can we find you? You got any videos dropping?
You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovies611 on YouTube and WordPress, and right here as host of Second Look. Episode will be going up at some point this month on Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and then next month, the episode will be Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Episode dropped last week on the Frighteners. Please check it out. If you like the video, comment, like, share it around. It makes my small man complex feel a lot better if people like what I do. And you can also find me right here as a constant guest and sometimes host of the summit when Kristen doesn't want to be here. And also, we didn't promote this at the top of the show. On the channel right now, me and Kristen got to sit down with the new tag team champ, John Roca, in what I believe is his first interview since winning the belt. So go check that out. John talks about not just the Orlando event. He talks about sort of where he's at right now, currently in the Schmoedown, and what he sees happening for the rest of 2019 and for the next season. So it's a great interview.
Yeah, it is. It is great. It's on the channel. Definitely check it out. Ignore the fact that I have an echo. There were so many technical difficulties. I think I just gave up at a point.
You know the fact that I agree with John Roca on some points?
Don't ignore that, but ignore the echo. It was good enough. Yeah, it was a great interview. John's always a great guest to have on. You can find me, Smith_K10, the number, not the word, on Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust, even though I don't post anything on Stardust. You can also find me right here, hosting the show. You spent an hour and 37 minutes watching. If you don't know what you just spent an hour and 37 minutes watching.
What are you doing?
I just don't know. I can't help you anymore. I give up. I mean, I'm glad. Thank you for the view, but maybe find someone who can help you with some things. Yeah, you can also find me doing reactions every once in a while. I will be out of town this week, so probably not this week, but maybe next week. You never know. All right,
oh,
guys.
Man, guys, Kristen's away.
Everyone's going to
score.
Okay, so yeah, that's all we got. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys all next week. Peace out.